to this day right now, when they sent me, my primary sent me to refer me to two neurologists. Both neurologists, when they called me to make the appointment, they asked me what's the issue. And as soon as I mentioned CTE, they all said the same thing. We can't help you. Don't come here.
Are you curious about discovering ways of making your life better? Then welcome to my podcast. I'm Bob Nickman, and this is The Exploding Human. Listen in while I talk with all kinds of people in the fields of personal growth, health and healing, alternative therapies, psychology, spirituality, environment, and the future. I'm looking for those answers that make life better for everyone. You'll meet cutting-edge practitioners, doctors, artists, filmmakers, business people, and those who have overcome challenges. The brave, the curious, anyone who's out there helping us humans to explore, expand, and explode. Hey, welcome to The Exploding Human. My name is Bob Nickman. My guest today is William Person. He is a former 9-year Team USA Bobsledder and has been battling the devastating reality of CTE, which is chronic traumatic encephalitis, a traumatic brain injury. We're going to be talking about the symptoms such as depression, confusion, headaches, brain fog, which mirrors some symptoms of other things, makes it a very difficult thing to diagnose. We're also going to be discussing the challenges in getting proper treatment and his journey to discovering Hyperbaric Oxygen Therapy, which has been a lifesaver for him, and his mission to create his own center to help people who are suffering from CTE. It is very prevalent in sports and as a result of military service and anything that's really very high impact on the head. So let's jump in. This is William Person. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for doing the show. It's always a pleasure to have a great guest like yourself, and I already know that that's going to be the case. How did I know that? I don't know. Your story just sounded really fascinating to me. Man, we're both in LA, so that's, folks, you got two Angelinos here, but we're transplants from the Midwest from like almost 40 years ago. I know we're going to be talking about, brain injury and traumatic brain injury and things like that, and how you discovered that was the case of what was going on with you. But let's first talk about how this happened. And I'm assuming that your stint on the bobsled team, Olympic bobsled team, you got knocked around pretty good. Am I correct in that?
That's extremely accurate.
Okay.
Extremely accurate.
So how does a guy from St. Louis get into bobsledding? That's my big question.
Well, you know what? Really, I was a sprinter and a long jumper. And right before that last, that Salt Lake City Olympics 2002, they were doing tryouts. And my track career was just wrapping up. At that time, I had another weird job. I was doing I wouldn't call myself a stuntman, but if you see movies like Jerry Maguire, Any Given Sunday, they like to put football uniform on me and watch me run. And it looks good on camera. Mm-hmm. So I was doing things like that. And when the time came for that Winter Olympics to come around, there was tryouts. There was a show called Go for the Gold hosted by NBC. And they called me a couple of times to come out for this tryout. And you know what? I remember as a kid watching The Wide World of Sports, that little clip that comes on all the time. You see a bobsled crash, you see a guy on skis wipe out.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that looks kind of scary. I don't know. I'll fucking do it. But I said, this is my last couple of years of track. Maybe I can pick up a sponsor. So this is going to be on TV. So I went out for this tryout. There was maybe, I don't know how many people was out there, but I would say I watched the first 30, 40 people go through the tryout. And then when it was my turn, what it was a treadmill. They take a treadmill, they put it on the highest elevation. You have to hold the handles like you're holding a bobsled. And the faster and more pressure I apply when I run, the quicker it gets to 10 miles an hour, and they time it. So when I did it, this bobsled driver put his arm around me. NBC had all the hot lights on me, so I'm thinking, okay, yeah. He said, if I offered you $50,000 for the next 3 months, would you race on my team? And I gave him I was a businessman. Like, I owned a treatment facility for kids at that time. So I gave him the educated answer. If it's a fair price, sure. If not, we can renegotiate later. But in the back of my head, I'm thinking 50 grand for 3 months. Hey man, I can consider me signed up. So anyway, I went out there the next week, pushed the sled for the first time, did pretty good. I wound up racing in the America's Cup race that same week. I won the medal. NBC ran that story, and I was kind of hooked at that point. It was fun, and it was different than track and field. It was a whole different dynamics to training and the discipline of it. Everything was just different, and so I just rolled with it for a while. The next thing I know was 9 years later, I was still there.
Wow. I mean, I don't think of track and bobsledding being connected at all, other than they're both great sports. But I guess there's balance and endurance and agility and all these kinds of factors in there.
Mainly speed and power. Yeah. My job is to get that thing moving. And I guess starting out, you got to run. That's true. That's true. You got to. So it was a team. How many people on this team? I know there's different size teams. Well, I'm the U.S. national champion in 4-man, and in 2-man for national ranking, I was second. So I did both.
Damn. Wow. Yeah. I don't like to go that fast, so I'm I'm like,
it's not even the speed that gets you. It's like people drive 95 miles an hour in a car all the time. It's not a big deal. But imagine going down the street and you're doing 95 miles an hour and get to a 4-way stoplight. You got the right of way. You got the green, and it's your time to go. And don't touch those brakes. You just turn the car. That's the difference. Yeah. So what it does, it just takes all the blood out of your head, and I don't know where it sends it. And, and like a lot of people black out in those turns. It's just, it's pretty intense.
Yeah. Damn. I've never met anybody that's done this, so it's pretty fascinating to me. Is it cold out there? I mean, it's snow, I guess, right? And ice.
You know what? I'll tell you what, one of my worst not one, it's been quite a few of them. We're racing at -40. So if you look at our Olympic suits, they're see-through, spandex. You can see through them. If you hold them up, you can really see through the light. And so you out there at -40, there's no protection from the weather, or it's just, you just have to get psyched up to do it.
Wow. I've been in like -20 or 30 when I spent about 2.5 months in Moscow about 10, 12 years ago in the winter. And I couldn't believe how cold it was. Like your eyeballs start to freeze.
Yeah.
That's not, yeah. And I was like,
now there's one piece of that. Now imagine going 95 miles an hour into that -30 or 40 when you see it, and you don't have on a jacket. You might as well be in a tank top. It's no difference.
It's like, yeah. How long are the races? So what's the time like when you start to when you get to the bottom? How many minutes is that?
Every track's a little bit different. So, but most of them are close to about a metric mile long. Mm-hmm. So, but it depends on how many turns. I mean, the turns are what slows the sled down a little bit. If you have those tracks with a lot of straightaways, you're going to get the top speeds like 95 miles an hour. The ones with the more turns in it, you're probably going to hit about 80, 85, I believe.
Yeah. So how long does that take to go a mile at that speed? I don't know.
I say usually it's about 48 seconds or so.
So it's sort of like cryotherapy.
Yeah.
On steroids or something, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Me too. I had a lot of days where I didn't still want to be here from the side effects, but.
Well, that's what we'll get into now, because I know now what it said in your bio, they said CTE-like symptoms. Yeah. I don't know what CTE-like means. I mean, isn't it just CTE or not CTE pretty much, or it's just, how do you diagnose? And why don't you tell the folks what CTE means and what the symptoms are, so we can sort of and how that happened.
Well, one of the things is, first of all, I'm not going to even try to pronounce the real name, but part of my condition is like there's some words I just can't say anymore. Okay. I can see them, but I still can't say them.
So when I looked it up, I didn't know what it was exactly. chronic traumatic encephalitis is what I saw there for
Yeah,
CTE. So
that's
it's
pretty close.
encephalitis is the brain, obviously, and it's chronic, so it's ongoing and it's traumatic. So it's traumatic brain injury of a type is what it.
Yeah. But the reason why I say CTE like symptoms, like they don't diagnose you with CTE until you die, and they do all.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Let's hope they
Yeah.
never do that.
Well, my teammates, my last teammate who took his life, they checked his brain, and he definitely had C. He was in stage 4.
Mm.
So yeah, he like one day he called me and he was speaking this weird gibberish, and I couldn't understand anything he said. But I told myself every day I got to help him. I got to find some help for this guy. And the truth is, like, I didn't do anything more than just think about it. And eventually, I got the word that he went to his family's factory and he hung himself. And at that point, like the guilt just kind of like just knocked me off my feet for quite a while. And then until I realized one thing, like I couldn't help him because I needed help. Like when I was trying to help him, I was literally crawling around my own apartment, not knowing something was wrong with me. I thought I was becoming diabetic because I had these. I was cloudy. Uh, every day I woke up, I didn't know. I didn't know what the day is, like if it was a Sunday or a Friday, and I didn't know what month we're in. I always thought it was January or August. So, like I was stuck in a loop, and I didn't know what it was. I just thought it was diabetes, and I was seeing the doctors for many, many years, and they just kept telling me, "No, you don't have diabetes." And that makes more sense because I was a clean athlete. Like I ate really clean. I've always eaten clean, and I
Yeah.
didn't abuse myself or anything like that. But those symptoms, I've seen them on diabetics before. That's what it looks like, and I believe that's why a lot of people don't get diagnosed because the symptoms are just like other things you see in life, and it's easy to not understand what they are. They kind of I can't find that right word, but it's like they misrepresent what they really are. They're not.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, there's similar symptoms to other things, so it can be confusing. Did any doctor ever say or ask you if you had head injuries?
No.
Yeah, see,
He-
that's the odd thing, I find that, one of the problems is when you go see a certain type of doctor, they kind of have a tendency to only look at the thing you're seeing them for.
yes.
And instead of asking the important question is what else could it be?
Well, I'll tell you what. It gets worse. When there was an article written by the New York Times by Matthew Ferdinand. Like that guy saved my life, man. He's a. I've never met him, but I can't wait to shake his hand in person one day. But he wrote this article called Sledhead. It outlined what my teammates were going through before they took their lives, and it talked about the illnesses all the way up from the depression up to people with Parkinson's now. I tell you what, like I read that article so many times that it really helped diagnose me. And without that article, like I would still be in the darkness,
Mm.
of what's going on. But I took that article to my doctors, showed it to them. Still, no one is like, I'm telling them, my other teammate just died from CTE. I know what this is now. Still, to this day, right now, when they sent me, my primary sent me to referred me to 2 neurologists. Both neurologists, when they called me to make the appointment, they asked me what's the issue. And as soon as I mentioned CTE, they all said the same thing. We can't help you. Don't come here.
What?
Yeah, don't come here. Find a specialist. I was
Oh,
like, there are no CTE specialists. Who's this specialist you're talking about? And so if you had, like, when I was working and I had a regular, like I was a program director. I used to own a treatment facility for youth. Like I had great insurance. Now that I can't really work in my field, I have the worst insurance. And so you don't get that luxury of finding people who can really really help you. That's really what it is.
so are there specialists in CTE, or are you saying that there really aren't, or very few? What there aren't?
Very few to none. I would say that.
How is that? I just can't even believe that's possible. I mean, there's so many um, amazing doctors, but is it like it's just because it's so hard to diagnose, and is there some kind of a stigma to um,
I,
having something like that because they don't have a clear cut path to helping? I mean, what's the thing that keeps it from being more in the forefront and understood?
from what I'm seeing now, like I've been through this, I've been watching and watching and watching. I just believe like a lot of people who have it don't understand that they have it. That's number one. So people aren't going in to get checked for this. They're going to get checked from the symptoms like I did. Like I was diabetic. I was told there was a stigma. Like for example, right now, the only thing I use is hyperbaric oxygen, thanks to Joe Namath.
Mm-hmm.
No doctor told me to try that. No, all the doctors that I did speak to, there was nothing for us. It's like, you're on your own. That's kind of what this thing is.
Hey,
Yeah. And yeah, because they really can't, I don't know if it's because I didn't see the right doctors who couldn't catch it, or if I really don't have a real answer, but that's the reason why I'm talking here.
Well, you're getting the message out. I guess maybe now is the time to do that, because I don't know what, I've never had anybody on the show talk about this exactly. I've had one guy on who works for the Almond Clinics, which is, if you're familiar with them.
Yes.
Yeah. His name is Jay Faber, and one of the things he uses with patients is hyperbaric oxygen. And he said, talked about some of the great results that he's gotten. So I'm wondering, or trying to remember how exactly that works, because it can cross the blood-brain barrier to get to the brain, and work with the cells to create a healthier brain. I'm layman's terms here because I'm not a doctor, but that's what it seems like to me, is that there's an oxygen deprivation because of the injury. And I might be just talking out of my ass here. I don't really know.
No, you're pretty close. I believe you're pretty close.
Okay.
Because from what I understand, it makes your body believe it's 9 feet underwater minimum, depending on what pressure chamber you're using.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then your blood is more like a gas. What can get through all the blockages is how it was explained to me. It just oxygenates all your cells. And like the thing for me is like, there's not a doctor in the world who could tell me that I wasn't in dementia, because I was getting lost in my own home. I was cloudy. I was confused. I got to the point where I wouldn't drive. I totally parked that motorcycle. I wouldn't ride my motorcycle anymore because I just didn't. I knew I didn't have the reflexes to be driving that stuff anymore. And I just had to do some things to protect myself. So I know I was in dementia. Like I can barely talk very well. Like if you ask me a question, I can answer it, but I'm not going to be participating in the conversations very much.
Yeah.
If you didn't really direct something to me, I just couldn't. I would just be present, but I was in survival mode. I was holding on for dear life.
Sounds really scary. And the fact that you were aware of that, there may be people that have this that aren't even aware of how off they are from the way they used to be.
Well, remember, my first crash was in 2002 in Switzerland. It was awful. And I didn't figure out what this was until around 2021. So it took me 21 years to figure out what these side effects were.
Yeah.
So I didn't know. I really didn't know right away. It took me forever.
Were there side effects after the first crash?
Absolutely.
Really? Okay.
I didn't recognize them, though. Let me give you some examples. I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would panic because I didn't know where I was at, right? I would jump up as quick as I can, turn the lights on, and I always say, I look at the pictures on the wall. They let me know where I'm at. Whether I'm in Europe or I'm in California or at the Olympic Training Center or in the hotel, I can look at the pictures, but I rationalize it. I'll be like, you know what? I travel so much. I'm a world traveler. I have such a great life. And that's why I don't know where I'm at. Other red flags, like I went to hang out with some friends I hadn't seen in a long time. I'd been on tour. And we went to a little pub kind of place. And my best friend was like, hey, man, that's your ex-girlfriend right there. And I was like, I don't know that girl. She's pretty, but I don't know her. And then she runs over and jumps in my arms and I catch her and I'm like, whoa, I guess I do know her. So I rationalize once again. I'm an athlete, the ladies love me. That's just, that's what I'm telling my psyche. I'm patting myself on the back. Yeah, look at that beautiful one who loves me so much. But the truth was, I wasn't recognizing familiar faces anymore. I was getting to that point, and it's so easy to just rationalize the stuff because you don't know what it is, and people weren't talking about it.
And I would also assume, hope it, correctly or incorrectly, that you were trying to hide it from other people, that there was some shame. Like you would pretend and you would try to figure out ways to figure out who the person was or where you were, rather than go, I don't know where I am. I don't know who you are. That's embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when I didn't know where I was at, that one I didn't really hide from people because I really rationalized that one pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But as time went on, I still do it to this day. I have a thing that I kind of do. It's like when I meet somebody and I like, how are you doing? Or, hey, how are you? I never say names. But sometimes, people stay there. They're pretty persistent. So, there's a connection there.
Yeah.
And I really just try to, step back a little bit until they reveal who they are. Because, and it was so embarrassing. They had a lot of business meetings, a lot of big people, like the studio level. And I knew these people. But I used to throw a party once a year in Hollywood. I hate to say what we used to call it, the Bill Cosby sweater party, because ugly sweaters and stuff. Can't say that anymore, but that's what we did. And
well, it's the sweater, not the person. So
yeah, it was me. It was a guy from Warner Brothers and a guy from Joe Silver's company. The guy made all the Matrix movies. Once a year, we did that party. But these big executives coming to my party every year, and I can't remember their name or their faces. Like I know them, but it's like, it's so. You're right. It's so embarrassing. It was very embarrassing, and it took for a young lady named Christina Smith from Canada. I had just told my girlfriend and my law team at the time, I said, guys, I'm going to tell you something I've never shared with anybody. I said, I don't think I recognize faces. I don't, I was giving the whole spiel. And then about 3 or 4 days later, this video shows up from Christina Smith. And she mentioned right in there, she didn't recognize familiar faces. And I was like, I knew it. It was like that epiphany. Like they always say that the cows came home or something, like everything just showed up at the same time. It's like, wow.
There's nothing like connecting with somebody who has the same issue to give you permission to be honest about it. It's when you're in isolation that you don't want to say anything because you don't think you're going to be understood or you're going to be judged. It's a really hard thing to deal with. I have compromised vision. I know I don't look like it. I look like a regular person, but I don't see well. I have low vision, and I don't see people's faces clearly in certain lighting and at certain distances.
Yeah.
And they'll go, hey, Bob, and thank God for the word man. Hey, man.
Yeah.
Hey, girl. And then I try to figure out as I'm talking to them, I move closer. I try to pick up, the voice. So I do that with my vision. And it's and I miss stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
And I forget, and I don't remember names that well anyway. So, and if I can't see people, I'm a visual memory guy. That's how I learn, very visually. So this thing that is my greatest learning tool is the thing that's compromised. So when I have to really spend time with people and get to know them in a way and hear their voices for me to be able to recognize them. But I always move close. I move close so I can see them.
Yeah.
And so, it's a different thing than what you have, but it's the same idea of workarounds, basically, is what they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, even with my glasses, they're tinted now because I'm sensitive to lights, smells, and sounds.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so I keep my glasses a little bit tinted, like my optometrist said I have the smallest prescription available, but man, when I take these things off, everybody has halos now. Like there was
it hurts. Like bright lights for me anyway. Bright lights hurt. I don't see well in the dark because there isn't enough light. So people go, when do you see the best? Daytime overcast is when I see the best.
Daytime overcast. Huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, it's an interesting thing to have these, physical challenges in life. And I know that you had depression was part of it. And that's I wonder how many people, that are in these high impact kind of careers have depression because of that. And they're diagnosed, let's put them on Prozac. Well, that's not the thing for this,
Yeah.
So there's people walking around, and you said, this is what I was thinking. Okay, so you have this sport when you're telling me you know a number of people that have killed themselves because of this, and that it's very prevalent because you're getting knocked around. And aren't team doctors aware of this? I mean, that seems to me, when you have athletes that you've been caring for and they're doing this to themselves, are these doctors not going, oh, this is happening a lot. This is happening in a higher percentage than it should. What is, the team doctor didn't have any sense that this was going on with his athletes?
Well, the best way I can answer that, man, I'm trying to how to really be really gentle with this one.
Well, yeah, whatever works for you. I mean, you don't have to be gentle with me, but if you.
Well, the thing is, like, I'm really working more so. I'm really working on that healing side, and I found some things that help.
Yeah.
And I do my best to really stay away from the other stuff. But the truth is,
okay, I get that. Okay,
but I have to say it. Of course, they had to have known. And there was I spoke to a person who worked for the office. I don't know if you know, but I filed a class action to get everybody some help.
Yay! Good for you.
Yeah, actually, they want me to settle this offer right now, and it's awful. They only want to evaluate the athletes. They don't want to treat us. And I'm asking, like, what is the point of an evaluation if you're not going to help us? And so my lawyers really have turned their back on us at this point. Like, the last 2 times in court, my lawyer was with the other lawyers. They're together as a team now, and they're really fighting me personally. But I just don't understand. Like, if you can tell me that it'll help somebody, I told them I'll sign off on this thing today, but they couldn't find anybody who would benefit, because it won't benefit anybody. Like, it's like if your child was sick, would you take your child to a doctor who's not going to treat them? No. What would be the point? Right. And so that's kind of where we are right now. So I'm sure they knew. And the one guy told me, he said, one person told me, put it this way, he knew what they were doing they wanted more protection from, I believe, lawsuits against head injuries, because they knew these things were happening, and they wanted protection for the federation itself. Yeah, because they couldn't find helmets that were safe and aerodynamic, is what they said to me.
Well, so it really comes down to money. That's what it is. It's just, we don't want to get sued. We don't want to have to be responsible. I don't want to have to support, X number of athletes for the next 20 years while they get care. It's expensive. And, it's unfortunate that money takes precedent over, the health of other human beings, but it is a factor. I mean, you hear it all the time.
Well, when I spoke to the judge, I told him one thing. I said, Your Honor, the only thing that I told them that's non-negotiable is they have to warn the new generation before they get in that sled. I said, we weren't warned. We all got tricked. They didn't warn us. And so that's why we are where we are. But now we've been negotiating what that warning looks like. And I don't think it's a good warning. You can't just say concussion, because guess what? I knew I had a concussion, but I didn't know in 5 to 7 years afterwards that I was not going to know what day it is or what month we're in, or my memory was going to be wiped, and I can't learn new things. Now I can't read very well. I can't write, and I'm struggling to do basic math in my head. And I was a math and science guy in college. Like, my original major was electrical engineering, and so it's like, I just don't agree with not wanting that next generation, because that can be somebody's child, there's somebody's grandchild, their brother, their sister, and they're going to be sitting there looking like me. And if I know I've stepped in that hole and all my teammates stepped in that hole and people are dying, and I don't see anything, like, that just didn't sit well with me. I have to say something. Yeah.
Good for you.
And for the record, I never even asked for anything for myself. And it was 2 reasons for that. The number one reason was, when I filed the case, I didn't think I would be alive to see the end of it. Because here I am, I'm crawling on the floor. I'm cloudy. I'm lost in my own neighborhood. So I lived in the same neighborhood for probably 5 years at that time. And so my goal was to just keep help out for the masses, for everybody who needs it. I could have just filed a suit for myself, but I didn't want to do that. I never even asked for money for myself. I said, take care of my guys, is what I told them. And I was pretty sure I was going to die before this case ended. But Joe Namath stepped up, and he was talking about how he reversed some of his symptoms. And I tried it, and it's definitely it's blessed me. It's very blessed me because without him, man, I was like I was in the darkness. There was no quality of life, and every day I was praying like, God, I don't want to wake up another day like this. Like, please, just it's time. It's my time now. So, but yeah, I was there.
Well, the other reason I think, and maybe you said this, but is that if you don't take any money for yourself, it makes the idea of what you want very clean and pure. And so it's like, well, you did it for money. Well, no, I didn't. I did it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's a beautiful thing. That's courage right there. I mean, it's just amazing. So let's talk about the treatments and the different protocols. I know hyperbaric oxygen is kind of the main thing. Are there other things, and how often do you do those treatments, and what are they like? I don't really, I know a little bit about it, but I'd like to hear it from somebody that actually does it.
Well, for me, the very first time I tried it, man, it was amazing. I can really say that. First of all, I didn't think it was going to work because if you all the research you do about CTE and people who are going through it, it's brutal, man. It is so brutal. It's like this person took their life. This person killed this person. They killed their loved one. It's so dramatic and scary.
Yeah.
Or recently you had the mass shooter who was going after the NFL office, and then he left a suicide note. And so it's that kind of stuff. But for me, when I went to try this chamber that I didn't think was going to work, I was in there for 1 hour, and it's a kind of a funny story because when I got out of that chamber, I went to grab these glasses, and when I put them on a few times, and I kept taking them off, and the salesman was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I don't think I need my glasses right now." And he said, "Oh, you're one of those." And I'm thinking, okay, here comes the salesman. He's about to probably sell me on this machine that I can't afford right now. But he was right. Some people get immediate relief, and some people need 40 to 50 sessions within 30 days. And for me, man, my vision was clear. I didn't know I wasn't seeing colors very well, but all of a sudden I could see colors. The skies were bright. But I tell you what, I went home that night. Do you want the PG version, or you want which version do you want?
Oh, I want the strongest one that's possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never told this story on camera before. So that night when I got home, one of my migraines kicked in. I hadn't had one in a while. Like I always kind of have a headache. It's always kind of there, but it's subtle or it's migraine. So that night when I got home, it was about 7:00. Migraine kicked in. Well, I fell asleep and I woke up with this migraine. And that was about midnight. And I had this migraine. It was just destroying me. But the one thing about that migraine, this is where it gets a little bit PG-13. So if you need to edit out, I understand. But I had an erection while I had a migraine. And those are two things that just don't go together. I've never heard anybody say, I got a migraine, let's go have sex.
Usually when you have an erection, the woman has the migraine.
Exactly. Yeah, but that's what happened to me. And that erection lasted like 6 hours. I woke up in the morning, it was still there.
Wow.
And I was like, what is this? The cloudiness I had, it slowly just went away. It was gone. I had 6 days with no clouds. And man, my life was just different. And I was like, whoa. I said, okay, I'm thinking, okay, was it a fluke? Was this a fluke? This can't be real. Like, this is 20 years of this crap. Like, it's gone. Like, so the guy let me come back. I tried it the next week. And it was toward the end of that next week. And so that next time I tried it, my cloudiness was going for 9 days. And man, now I need to have one. And this is where the problem comes in. That machine that I wanted was $20,000. Like, I had just bought a new house, and I was like, where am I going to get 20 grand? I'll have 20 grand laying around right now. And I literally, my dad stepped up, and one day he put that money in my account, and that's how I got the machine. But I tell you what, it took about 2 months before it arrived, or so, maybe a month or two. I don't know how long it was. By the time it got there, I was so cloudy again. I didn't I was laying down preparing to pass away because it was like I'd never been in that machine before. But I didn't really panic because I knew that machine was coming. I knew what it was going to do for me. And it's been my savior ever since. But my only problem, like I try to be totally transparent. Like if I go, say about more than a month without using it, like my cloudiness comes back. Some people get that permanent relief. Right now, I'm not one of them. So,
Mm-hmm.
but so I just do my maintenance with the machine. I keep one at my home, and that's part of my life. This is what it is.
And you don't need anybody to help you with the machine. You know how to do it on your own now.
Yeah, I was doing it on my own. Yeah.
How often?
Well, when I first started, I was doing 5 days a week, and then once I'm doing it all the time, I'll go down to maybe 3 times a week.
Okay, well that's
And
yeah.
yeah, but then when I get in trouble again, like if I travel and I don't use it, like a couple months ago, I went back to look at some properties for opening this free CTE wellness center I want to open, and I was gone for almost 5 6 weeks. By the time I came back, oh, it was brutal. Could barely talk again, and
Damn, I mean, because
I
you're very present and able to. I mean, I don't see anything, which is kind of great, isn't it?
yeah,
I would never know any of this by talking to you right now, which
yeah.
is a real testament to that.
If you let me go without that chamber, you'll be like, "What's wrong with that guy?" Like,
Yeah,
it's.
yeah.
Remember, I have some videos on TikTok. If you ever have some time, go take a peek at them. Like, I have a channel, and I originally started it because when Joe Namath put that information out, he said he reversed his CTE symptoms, but he never said what his symptoms were. He never said what he was going through while he was in that chamber. And so I tried to start a channel where people can follow. So if they're going through this, they know what to do and they know what the ups and downs of it is. And so when I was traveling back and I was cloudy, I made a video and I posted. Like it was really embarrassing at first to do that type of thing,
Sure.
but it's saving lives. I have people from hockey, military,
Yeah.
people's parents are calling. They're like, "Hey, you know, I mean, it's actually helping a lot of people as of now." So
I just had a guy on the show a couple of weeks ago who had a lot of symptoms. It wasn't traumatic brain injury; it was other stuff. It was really bad, like it started with psoriasis, but it turned into lots of different things. He was under a lot of treatments, and which gave him cancer, and he had Lyme disease. It was like 3 or 4 things. If you want, folks, if you want to hear that episode, his name is Brad Pitsley. I think it's 2 or 3 episodes before this. And he was told by a functional medicine doctor to try a hyperbaric oxygen. But when he realized what the cost and the time was going to be, he was a little bit, I don't have that kind of money. I can't do that. What am I going to do? And then he heard about something called exercise with oxygen therapy. I don't know if you've heard of this because I had never
yes,
heard of it. And that episode, I hope you can listen to it. He's 98% symptom free for the symptoms he's had.
nice.
And it took, and the guy was an engineer of sorts. And he thought, and he was looking on the internet for, machines because you can do it at home. You have to do it at home. Basically,
Yeah,
it's an oxygen generator. I forget it's either 93 or 98% pure oxygen. I can't remember. And you put like an oxygen mask over through a tube and you exercise while you're using it. And, there's a lot of sort of extra benefits apparently beyond the hyperbaric. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. This is what he was saying. And he's some people, like you were saying, immediately they get these really positive results. Some people take longer. He had a long history of stuff, so it took him many months longer than a lot of people because of what he had. It's an episode worth listening to for you folks if you're interested in this topic that Will is talking about, because there's a lot of professions and a lot of lifestyles where people get hurt and they get hit in the head,
yeah,
and that's an area that is very mysterious. Once you get inside the skull, who knows what's going on in there? It's very complicated.
yeah,
So that's just another protocol which is very much along the lines of what you're talking about, but you can do it at home. So he built his own machine because he didn't like the the hype and the cost of the machines that he was seeing online. His is like I think he was saying there was two versions. One was 1,700 and the other was 2,300, which is, a pretty reasonable price if you have a problem like this. I don't know if and I'm not saying that this is going to solve the issue that we're talking about, but if hyperbaric oxygen works that well, this may be another solution for somebody that doesn't have the means to do what you're talking about. I don't know. I'm not making any claims.
Yeah. Well, that's one reason why I'm working on opening a free or complimentary CTE unit. It's going to be not for profit. I don't want to charge anybody anything for doing it.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm just trying to pay it forward. Like, this guy, Joe Namath, he put that information out. I tried it. And, it preserved my life, and I just want to pay it forward. There's no more to it than that, and it's so simple. Like 1 hour in that chamber, it changed my life.
It's amazing.
I was so miserable. Oh my God, I was so miserable. And don't get me wrong, every now and then I still have bad days, especially if I'm not using that chamber. How could I not provide that for somebody? And how could I charge for that? Like, who am I to charge to give somebody life back? Like, I'm not that guy.
Well, yeah, it's it's really sort of the origins of medicine were that exactly, is not taking any money. Obviously, people have to earn livings and facilities have to be built, and there's lots of things that go into it.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure that the amount that's being charged and how it's being run financially with insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies, that's really not the most altruistic way to approach healing. My opinion, of course, but
well, there's only 14 things that the insurance will pay for hyperbaric to treat. It's 14 things. I don't even know what they all are. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm not an expert on that. I really stay in my lane, and I tell people all the time, like my website that is being created, all my social media, is called One Man with a Chamber. I tell people all the time, when Joe Namath put his information out, he had a team of doctors. I'm one guy with a chamber, and I'm just showing you how it affected my life.
I love that name. One Man with a Chamber.com.
One Man with a Chamber.
That's what it's going to be? That's coming up, right? Okay.
Yeah, it should be ready any day. I got sick a few weeks ago. I caught COVID a couple of weeks ago, so I just really was like laying around just getting healthy, and so I just haven't pulled the trigger on it. But the people that's building it, it's ready to go.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And if people want to find out more about what you're up to, what are the other places they can do that?
I'm the only probably William person in the world. Not many William persons in the world. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and then type in One Man with a Chamber. Most of my social media is all being directed toward that title now.
Have you spoken with the current bobsled team people? I don't know what that would be. I don't know what that would be called. This is just somebody who doesn't know anything. Have you told your story to these people in hopes that they will pass along the information, or are they just sort of, yeah, thanks?
We're in litigation right now, so we do a lot of talking.
Okay.
But the truth is, they, I really hate to say this. I just don't really think that they care. It's evident that from their actions.
Yeah.
It's just evident that, it's business as usual, bring on the next,
Yeah, it's disheartening.
But one could think about the case, it's making them, even though they aren't saying the right things about the long-term dangers of concussions, it still is making them talk about some of the stuff. And if people really want to know the truth, that if they Google it, they'll find out now what's going on, because there's articles out. Our best driver we ever had, I pushed Stephen Holcomb in his first World Championships, where I think we were ranked like 10th in the world that year. But he went on to win so many Olympic medals for the American team. He literally took his life at the Olympic Training Center in 2018.
Oh, damn.
And he's the most decorated athlete we've ever had. Such a nice guy, man. Nice guy, and matter of fact, at the Olympics, I don't know if you watched it, but they had him doing this little thing called the hokey dance. He's a really humble guy, real kind of shy guy. He started getting a little chunky. I think it's from the meds he was taking, and he was a little embarrassed about his body, I believe. And but anyway, he just a nice guy, but he took his life at the Olympic Training Center. So it's not like uh, people aren't aware of what's going on,
Yeah.
but the new generations just aren't, and they're not connecting the dots. Like since I filed this case, like I really started listening. The Canadians are having problems. I knew about some of the Jamaicans from the movie, the original guys having problems. There was a guy from New Zealand or Australia, a driver who had an aneurysm a couple of years ago or a year ago. So people are just, it's neurological things that are happening. But to me, it seems like I can't believe, can I be the only person that's really connecting those dots? No, I can't be, because the article came out. Yeah. So, yeah. But no one's talking about it. They just, they talk about it and just let it sweep it under the carpet.
Like, yeah, well, it's unpleasant. So people, they don't want it to, people don't want things to be true. So they make it so it's not.
Yeah.
Which is, it's, yeah. Now, are you doing any other type of supplementation or?
I tried in the beginning. The one doctor that I saw, he helped some of the NFL guys. And the first thing that he prescribed me was like a Zoloft. And it made things worse. It was like, you would think this pill should have been engraved with the word evil on the back of it, because it made all my problems seem so much worse than what they were. So eventually, I took it for a while, and I said, people say, oh, it's got to build up in your system.
Yeah, that's always the thing.
And then, but I knew a young lady who was taking, she's half my size. She had double the dose. I had a small dosage. And man, it made everything seem worse than it was. And I was like, eventually I just stopped. So after that, I haven't taken any supplementation. I tried lion's mane for a while. I was doing that for a while. That's really it. Like, there hasn't been much.
Didn't do much.
Well, it seemed like it was helping. Like,
oh, good. Okay.
It's hard to tell with those things. Like, it's so subjective.
Soft.
Yeah, it's subjective. Like, okay, what's a good day for you? Was this the day I didn't have dark thoughts?
Right. Was that the reason? I don't know. Yeah. And maybe I need to do it at this dosage for this many days, because it's a lot of experimentation with natural remedies. But there's a lot of efficacy to that stuff from what I'm reading and hearing about. But it's hard to know. You really are your own test tube at that point.
You really are. And like the one thing I was trying, like I was doing an interview a few days ago, and was a person with a brain injury, has a podcast, and we were talking about it. And one thing that they said was like they never did any self-medicating. And I said, that's impossible. You have a head injury. And I said, I'll guarantee you, if we spoke for 3 minutes here, I'll prove you wrong. And she said, okay, great. I'll take that challenge. I said, okay, well, you mentioned already you have low energy. How'd you get over that low energy? Caffeine. I said, that's your self-medication. Because that was the first one that I did too. Like when I was an athlete, I never drank coffee. To me, it's just disgusting. And I never drank Coca-Cola, things like that. But then when I got sick and I couldn't get out of that bed, every night before I went to bed, I took a thermos. I would put a thermos of coffee next to the bed or a bottle of Coca-Cola. And without that, I wasn't getting out of that bed till 3 o'clock the next day. And so the self-medicating is what hurts people the most. Like with this thing, like if you're self-medicating and it's alcohol, it's what's going to probably kill you before the CTE symptoms get you all the way. Or if you're doing harsh drugs, that's what's going to kill you. For me, I was a counselor, so I never really had tendency for drugs or things like that. So I never really had that. I never had like the alcohol problems or the drug issues.
So what's next for you? I know this center that you want to build is probably your main thing. It's
my only thing, man. It's it's like I said, it's such a simple fix for most people. It won't cure you. Well, I don't know. Some people say they get permanent relief. I'm not one. I can't speak on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it will preserve your life and it will make things easier. And it kind of takes that edge off. And it's like, how do you spend an hour in a machine and then just, and you feel better and you're not past that word and spread it. Like I have one machine right now It's a soft chamber. And because I rely on that thing, like I don't like I'm afraid to allow, like right now I could bring as many people can come in and get in that machine. I could run that thing all day if I wanted to. But if it breaks, guess what? Now I'm in trouble. Now I'm back without a machine.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I won't sacrifice myself like that. But I have let people use it. I don't mind letting a few. But I need some better machines that's going to take the wear and tear. And I'm just going to open my doors. I'm going to donate my own real estate into it. I have a lake house. I really want to do it there, but the truth is, I have a 2-bedroom. No, I'm sorry, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So that means I could probably host a couple people. But if I open it up in a place that's already where people can come, like I can probably treat 10 people a day. Even if I did 5, and I'm open 300 days, 300 days a year, that's 1,500 people who've been treated with oxygen and changing their life. Like it's such a no-brainer. And but I do need. I'm working on the fundraiser just so I can make sure I have doctors on hand. Like I don't want to do any harm. I want to make sure everybody's appropriate for the chamber. Because there's some conditions you can have that you shouldn't use it. And like one is cancer. If you have cancer, some doctors will send you through that chamber before you have surgeries. And they'll definitely send you in after your surgeries and stuff are over. But if you have chemo in your body, they said it'll make that chemo very extremely toxic.
Ooh, yeah.
So I want to make sure I have doctors who can handle evaluating people before they come and get in that machine and make sure that they're appropriate for it at the time.
The thing you're doing is just incredible. I really, admire what you're doing.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's really spectacular. And folks, we are talking to Will Person. And if you want to find him and more about him, say the name again of what you have, that great name. One man in a chamber.
One man with a chamber.
With a chamber. One man with a chamber.
Well, William Person is easy to find me, guys. You guys just please donate $1.50, $2. It doesn't take much. Like on the crowdfunding, we put like 500,000. That's so we can get into a bigger building.
Mm-hmm.
But if I started at a smaller place, like at my lake house or something, like 60 grand, and we got equipment, we got all the equipment that we really need to get going, to get started. And then once we have enough money coming in, we can move out to the bigger location and build that place out. I already have the locations picked out. And I chose the Midwest because the real estate is so much cheaper, and it's something that I could open up that center and we can be open in like days. It doesn't take much.
Yeah, it's machines and, electricity.
Yeah.
And a few other things. And the Midwest is, it's in the middle of the country. So no matter where you are, everyone's sort of equal distance from the Midwest.
Yeah. And when we open, guys, like I said, you have my word, there will not be a fee for the veterans, not for the athletes, and hopefully not for anybody. That's the goal, is to straight across the board, free treatment, save lives, and move forward. Because during my journey, I realized 2 things, like 2 conditions showed up that really sparked my interest. One was our military veterans. Like when they were out there and they're around the compression blast, they have the same symptoms as us. And as I found out, it's the same treatment. And the very fact that they're kind of the same boat as us, like as athletes, like the Olympic team doesn't want to step up and help us, nor are the military veterans being treated. As we all know, there's been a history of them not getting the proper treatment when they return home. But that's one of them, and it's such a simple thing. And I put out a video, and this is crazy. I put out a video the day before my last court hearing. In that video, I said, guys, we were watching these athletes harm people, harm themselves, live horrible lives because of this condition. I said, but those are not the people I'm really as concerned about as more. And I told people it's the military guys. I said, they are trained killers. So once our mind switches, and then the very next week, a military guy went into a place in my town and shot up that bar, and he was hiding in the woods. I don't know if they ever found him. And then the very following week after that, it was another military shooting. I was like, you guys are making me look like I'm a genius, guys. But, it's something that we can't run from. And think about it right now. You can't go to church without getting shot. You can't go to the theater. You can't go to a concert without getting shot. Like, it's something that we have to get ahead of. And, and if you really do the real numbers, like, I think it's 60 to 70% of people who are in prison right now had an undiagnosed brain injury at one point in their life. And it's just like, yeah. And which takes me all the way back to my days. Like, I'm not sure if we talked about my first crash, but my brakeman was unconscious. I had bad vertigo. They sent us back to the hotel in Switzerland they told us, keep an eye on each other. Make sure you guys don't go
keep an eye on each other.
Yeah. It was, what do you mean, the guy who was knocked unconscious? He supposed to watch me, or is it me, the guy who can't flip in the bed without the room spinning? Who's supposed to watch you? We both should have died that week in a hotel over there, because there was no medical. This is the only injury they tell you to don't go do anything. Like, there's no treatment. Like, what?
Yeah. Wow. Damn.
There's a lot of people walking around with these things that just, it's a time bomb waiting. For me, it took me 1 hour in that chamber to flip that thing around and to have life back. And I just want to offer that same thing.
Much appreciated. It's nice to meet somebody with a calling and a passion and that's doing something about it. So hats off to you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Have a fantastic day, folks. That was Will Person or William Person, whatever you want. One man with a chamber.
One man with a chamber.
Have a great day. Much appreciation for you folks listening to The Exploding Human. The website is theexplodinghuman.com. You can also listen on YouTube. That is The Exploding Human with Bob Nickman. I want to thank William Person for being on the show once again. Have a fantastic day. Thank you.